I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They say you're a hater. They say you're crazy.
You do this, yeah. And now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting. This all this is coming. You see it now. All of these complaints. People were damn. They were and pillaged.
For more than 3 decades, Sean Diddy Combs wasn't just a celebrity. He was a brand. Every time he appeared in public, whether it was a red carpet event, a TV interview, or a music video, he carried himself with the kind of cool confidence most artists only dream of. He was polished, charismatic, and always in control. Fans, reporters, and even critics all agreed. Diddy never cracked under pressure. What most people didn't know was that this image was carefully constructed. Behind the scenes, Diddy had a team of people working full-time to manage everything, from how he dressed, to how he spoke, to what he posted online. According to close sources, he even had a personal media trainer who would rehearse fake interviews with him just so he could practice the perfect reaction. His assistant once shared that Diddy would stand in front of a mirror for hours, repeating his answers until they sounded effortless. But not everything was as smooth behind the scenes. Former staff members described a completely different man when the cameras weren't rolling. They spoke of aggressive behavior, violent outbursts, and a temper that could explode over the smallest inconvenience. There were whispers about thrown phones, slammed doors, and scared employees. But nobody spoke publicly. Why? Because Diddy was powerful. Speaking out against him could mean the end of your career.
You're legendary for the parties that you throw.
I'm a legend, baby, for a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year. Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw.
Despite all this, Diddy's image held strong. No matter how many rumors surfaced, nothing stuck. He had money, influence, and powerful friends. But that all began to change the moment Cassie came forward with serious accusations. In the days before his trial began, the public began to notice something different about Diddy. At first, it was small. He snapped at a fan who asked for a selfie outside his lawyer's office. Then, during a press conference, he looked tense, gripping the podium tightly, avoiding direct eye contact with reporters. These weren't massive breakdowns, but for someone as image-conscious as Diddy, they were huge red flags.
And federal prosecutors say they have proof of that. It's this video from a hotel hallway in Los Angeles in March of 2016. It shows Combs chasing Cassie Ventura out of a hotel suite. We've edited parts of it. Ventura says Combs hit and kicked her and dragged her back to the room when she tried to leave a freak off. Ventura described it this way on the stand.
Then came day 3 of the trial, the day everything changed. As court was underway and Diddy sat beside his defense team, the courtroom doors opened, and in walked 50 Cent. The entire room fell silent. Reporters stopped typing. Lawyers paused mid-sentence. According to multiple eyewitnesses, Diddy immediately stiffened. His eyes widened. His mouth tightened. His hands began to tremble underneath the table. The cool, unbothered mogul people had watched for decades. He was gone.
Something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know
He did it.
you've been heavy on social
No, he
media
did it.
talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy.
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
The two men had a long, hostile history. For years, 50 Cent had publicly criticized Diddy. He hinted at secrets, made jokes online, and questioned Diddy's character repeatedly. But no one expected him to actually show up in court, especially not dressed in a sharp black suit with his trademark sunglasses, walking in like he owned the room, and he wasn't there just to observe. During the lunch break, 50 Cent stepped outside and faced a crowd of reporters. Calmly and clearly, he announced that he believed Cassie's story. Not only that, he was funding her legal team through his G Unity Foundation to make sure she had the best support possible. He said it wasn't about revenge or headlines. It was about justice and accountability.
We've always made early residents. I am not gang. I do not gang bang.
I do not like RICO. I do not like conspiracy. Keep both of those brothers away from me. These laws were designed to bring down the mafia. When you think crime in general, right? And then like when they would run into it, they go, this is way, it's not the neighborhood stuff. This is the other stuff, right?
That statement shook the industry. In one move, 50 Cent had taken the side of an alleged victim and made it okay for others to do the same. For years, celebrities stayed silent about Diddy. Whether it was out of loyalty, fear, or pressure, people simply didn't speak up. But when 50 took a stand, it broke the silence. Back inside the courtroom, Diddy was unraveling. Court reporters noted that he began interrupting his own lawyer multiple times. His voice got louder with each objection. He seemed scattered, agitated, and unable to focus. Gone was the confident mogul with slick answers and a charming smile. Instead, the world was watching a man in panic, visibly shaken by both the case and the presence of his most vocal enemy. And the worst part, the cameras were rolling. The media was covering every second. Every movement, every expression, every mistake was being recorded and broadcast across the world. For someone who had spent millions crafting a flawless public persona, this kind of vulnerability was a nightmare. People didn't just see Diddy losing a legal battle, they saw him losing control, and that's something the public had never witnessed before.
Not only is P. Diddy behind bars, but now he's on suicide watch in one of the most dangerous jails in the country.
In the entertainment industry, image is everything. And once the cracks start to show, it becomes almost impossible to repair the damage. This was only the beginning. By the time day 3 ended, it was clear to everyone watching that this case wasn't just about Diddy and Cassie anymore. It had become something much bigger. It was about accountability in the music industry, about the power of truth, about what happens when someone with real influence finally speaks up and takes a stand. And 50 Cent? He wasn't done yet. The evidence that changed everything. The courtroom had already seen tension, but what happened next made everything before feel like silence. After 50 Cent's shocking appearance and public support for Cassie, the prosecution wasn't about to back down. They knew the spotlight had shifted, and now they were ready to use it. They came back from the break with something unexpected: new video evidence. The prosecutor stood confidently, holding a file in her hand. "Your Honor," she said, "we would like to present evidence item 47B. That number hadn't been mentioned before." Even Diddy's lawyers looked confused. His lead attorney stood up immediately, objecting. "We were never shown this footage during discovery," he argued. The judge called both legal teams to the bench. For nearly 5 minutes, they whispered back and forth. Diddy sat at the defense table alone, visibly nervous. He kept glancing over his shoulder at 50 Cent, who hadn't moved from his seat in the back row. Courtroom sketch artists later shared that Diddy was cracking his knuckles one by one, a habit he only did when under pressure. When the lawyers returned to their tables, the judge made her ruling. "The court will allow this evidence," she said. "It was only discovered yesterday." Then the screen in the courtroom turned on. What played shocked everyone. It was surveillance. Footage from Diddy's Miami residence recorded in April 2018. The video had no sound, but the body language spoke volumes. Diddy appeared angry, shouting at Cassie, pointing at her as she backed against a hallway wall. Then it happened. He grabbed her shoulders and shoved her hard to the floor. Gasps filled the room. Some people covered their mouths. Others leaned forward, stunned. Diddy reacted instantly. He jumped up so fast his chair fell backward. "That's not what happened," he yelled. His lawyer rushed to calm him, whispering frantically in his ear. But it was too late. Everyone had already seen what they needed to see. What made the footage worse wasn't just the violence. It was that Diddy had just testified, under oath, the day before that he had never laid a hand on Cassie. He even claimed, "There is no video of such behavior because it never happened." Now the jury had seen for themselves that wasn't true. As the prosecutor pointed out this contradiction, Diddy's calm mask completely crumbled. He began shaking his head, muttering to himself. At one point, he even put his face down on the defense table. His attorney requested a brief recess. The judge denied it. "Mr. Combs needs to maintain his composure," the judge said firmly. Security officers quietly moved closer to the defense table. Outside the courtroom, the impact was immediate. Word about the footage spread like wildfire across Hollywood. Phones were buzzing. Group chats lit up. People who had once stood firmly beside Diddy were now silent, or worse, they were walking away. In less than 24 hours, Diddy's name started disappearing from celebrity social media pages. Usher, who had once called Diddy his mentor, quietly unfollowed him. Mary J. Blige did the same. Justin Bieber deleted several photos of them together. These weren't random unfollows. They were calculated. Industry people were watching their own reputations too. Being tied to Diddy was starting to look dangerous.
Trial for hip-hop mogul Sean Combs is still slated to start this Monday, May 12th. Here's what we learned, though, today about who will likely testify during that first week. An FBI analyst to break down that now infamous 2016 video of Combs and his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel. We will also likely hear from a male escort, and then we are expected to learn more from the main witness, Cassie Ventura, who is mentioned as alleged victim number 1. Again, 3 people that we are expecting to hear from this week in court: a male escort, an FBI analyst, and Cassie Ventura. There are no cameras in the courtroom, so I plan on continuing to provide updates about what is happening inside the trial of the United States government versus Sean Combs.
Then came the cryptic posts. Lizzo tweeted, "Believe women." No explanation, no names, just that. The Weeknd posted a black screen with white text. "Power doesn't equal truth." Even Drake, usually silent during drama, posted, "The truth always surfaces eventually." That post dropped less than an hour after the video was played in court. Then Cardi B went live on Instagram. She didn't name Diddy, but her message was clear. This industry protects abusers with money. We gotta stop pretending that power means innocence. The silence around Diddy was breaking. And it wasn't just quiet exits. It was public disassociation. People who had once been in his corner were leaving without looking back. One of the most chilling signs? A member of Diddy's management team leaked to a reporter that some of his closest friends were now ignoring his calls. Rihanna, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, all unreachable. Diddy had called Rihanna 6 times since the courtroom incident. Not once had she answered. Back in court, Cassie's case was growing stronger. Her legal team confirmed that after the video was shown, multiple new witnesses came forward. People who had stayed silent for years suddenly felt empowered. They saw Diddy vulnerable, and they no longer felt afraid. The prosecutor requested the judge allow 3 new witnesses to testify. All 3 were close to Diddy, 2 former assistants and a former bodyguard. All 3 had personal knowledge of how Diddy allegedly treated women behind closed doors. Meanwhile, 50 Cent was doing what he does best, stirring the pot. Since the courtroom footage leaked, he had posted 7 times on Instagram about the case. One post showed a split screen. On one side, Diddy sitting in court. On the other, the surveillance footage. The caption read, "Actions speak louder than lawyers." It received over 3 million likes in 6 hours. He wasn't done yet. 50 Cent then announced a new Netflix documentary series titled Music Industry Secrets. The rumor? It would expose the behind-the-scenes darkness of powerful figures, including Diddy. Cassie, on the other hand, was transforming. Reporters noted how different she seemed when she returned to court the day after the outburst. She walked in straighter, spoke more confidently. She had been quiet for years, but now she had momentum. She had support. Her lawyer told reporters, "My client feels heard. She's finding her voice." And the jury, Legal experts said it was clear they were paying attention, especially after the video. One jury consultant said, "Jurors believe what they see with their own eyes." That moment will stay with them longer than anything else in this case. Diddy's final meltdown and the collapse of an empire. Day 3 of the trial wasn't over yet, and Diddy hadn't hit rock bottom, but he was about to. After the damaging security footage was shown, after celebrities unfollowed him, and after 50 Cent declared public war on him, the pressure inside that courtroom was unbearable. Diddy wasn't just on trial anymore. His entire identity, his empire, his legacy was unraveling in front of the world. But the real explosion was still coming. Cassie returned to the witness stand that afternoon, calm, steady, and composed. With each word, she painted a clearer picture of the abuse she had suffered. She testified that Diddy threatened her career when she tried to leave him. He told her, "I made you. I can destroy you." As she spoke, Diddy's body language changed. Again, his legs bounced under the table. He was fidgeting. His face was red. His lawyer kept putting a hand on his arm, trying to calm him, but nothing worked. Then came the story that broke everything wide open. Cassie testified about an incident in 2018 at Diddy's Hamptons house. She said he locked her inside a bedroom for 2 full days after seeing her talk to another music executive at a party. That was the moment. A vein popped out on Diddy's forehead. His face twisted with rage. The courtroom sketch artist captured it perfectly. Eyes wide, jaw clenched, pure fury. And then, without warning, Diddy stood up and shouted across the room. "That's all lies," he screamed. "You know what? You did!" The courtroom froze. Cassie flinched but didn't back down. She stayed silent, focused, calm, but Diddy wasn't done. He turned around and pointed at 50 Cent in the back of the room. "And you," he yelled, "you'll regret getting involved in this." Security moved in immediately. 2 officers positioned themselves beside him. Another stood behind his chair. The judge slammed the gavel multiple times. "Mr. Combs," she said loudly, "you will control yourself in my courtroom. One more outburst, and I will hold you in contempt." Diddy's lawyer jumped up to request a recess. The judge snapped, "Sit down, counsel. We are not pausing these proceedings for your client's behavior." At that point, people in the gallery weren't sure what they were watching, a trial or the collapse of a legend in real time. And the jury? One juror was spotted furiously scribbling notes during the entire outburst. Another reportedly turned their chair slightly away from Diddy's side of the courtroom. Cassie, unshaken, took a sip of water and continued testifying, as if nothing had happened. Her lawyer would later say, "That composure wasn't fear, it was strength." She knows she's not standing alone anymore. Meanwhile, 50 Cent didn't say a word during the outburst. He just smirked, arms crossed, head slightly nodding, like everything was going exactly according to plan. The balance of power had shifted, right there in the courtroom. Diddy's legal team scrambled. That night, they rewrote their entire strategy. They abandoned the perfect businessman defense and started leaning into a new narrative. That Diddy wasn't dangerous, just passionate, misunderstood. A man pushed too far. It was a complete reversal. The next morning, Diddy's lawyers filed a motion for a mistrial. Their argument? That 50 Cent's presence in the courtroom was a calculated provocation, meant to disrupt the trial and prejudice the jury. They even included screenshots of 50's social media posts, claiming they were part of a deliberate campaign to make Diddy look guilty. But the judge wasn't buying it. She denied the motion within hours. Her response was clear. Mr. Combs is responsible for his own behavior in this courtroom. And just like that, Diddy was out of options. The defense had to pivot again. And this time they made a risky move. They started admitting to certain emotional incidents in his past, while still denying any criminal abuse. They were trying to soften the jury, to make Diddy look like a flawed man, not a violent predator. But it was too little, too late. because Cassie's case was growing stronger by the hour. The judge approved 3 new witnesses to testify for the prosecution. These individuals had stayed silent for years, but after watching Diddy's courtroom behavior and the growing support for Cassie, they felt safe coming forward. One was a former bodyguard. The other 2 were personal assistants. All 3 had direct knowledge of disturbing incidents behind closed doors. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, Diddy's business empire was taking hit after hit. Shares in Revolt, his media company, dropped by over 14%. Liquor brands he partnered with froze their deals. A major agency reportedly placed his entire representation under review. Insiders estimated that even if he won the trial, he could still lose up to $200 million in business deals. Hollywood had stopped protecting him. The man who once held the industry in his palm was being quietly erased. But the loudest shift of all, Cassie. The woman they once said would never speak. The one people thought was just another forgotten ex. Now she had the world listening, and 50 cent. He promised more was coming. "This isn't over," he posted. Not even close. His latest post featured a courtroom sketch of Diddy melting down, side by side with the surveillance video. The caption? "You can't unsee the truth." It got over 4 million views in less than 8 hours. For the first time in years, people in the music industry were scared, not of Diddy, but of the truth finally coming out. This wasn't just about one man anymore. It was about years of silence, years of protection, years of fear, and now it was crumbling.